Way back from the days. Way back from the days. Way back from the
Hello everybody and welcome to the third round of the 2004 SuperTruck World Challenge Championship. I'm joined by Tina Curtis once again.
Hello, it is indeed me again, back in the commentary booth for another round of scintillating truck action.
We have ended our South American leg of the championship and we are now firmly in the European section of the championship. If you missed the last couple of rounds, here is... No, that's wrong, lol. Here we go. Here was the results from last time out in Cordoba with a great race. Actually, after a red flag in which quite a few people actually crashed on pit entry due to an oil spill from one of the trucks earlier on in the race, Sebastian Bourdais ended up coming out on top ahead of Tomasz Enger and Kristian Kolby. Mika Salo also got on the board with a fastest lap as well. He had a good chance of scoring a victory, but could not actually do the job in terms of taking that result. And I believe we actually saw Narain Karthikeyan only scoring a handful of points as well as Jörg Müller actually retiring, previous championship leader, after the first round. And this is what the Drivers' Championship looks like going into this race. Kristian Kolby with a slim margin ahead of Tomasz Enger. Neither of the top two actually enjoying race victory so far this season, although the two race victors so far, Jörg Müller and Sebastian Bourdais, both on 25 points each, not scoring in either of the other rounds that they have competed in, currently sit in third and fourth. We've had 16 drivers so far scoring points, with 9 teams in total scoring in the Constructors. Keo, is there any driver in particular that you expect to see possibly in the fight for victory today?
That's a good question, because every single race of the SuperTruck really actually is like a toss-up, because round one it was very much a toss-up. I don't remember who won that, but it was very like I don't know the word for it, but it was unexpected, really.
It was Jörg Müller that took the victory.
Yeah, him. It was more so back to normal at round 2, so I have no idea what to expect for this round. So I guess we'll see who comes out on top here.
Well, Jörg Müller, of course, Hockenheim is his home track. That's the wrong one. After retiring in the last race, he'll be hoping to get back in the winner's circle, or maybe even a podium for him would suffice for him, obviously with a bit of an advantage in track knowledge. Obviously driving here often in his junior career, he could have that advantage. But without further ado, let's get straight into the qualifying session. Once again, if you don't know how this format works, it's 22 trucks, 11 teams, with a half an hour qualifying session and then a 90-kilometer race, in which we will expect to see pit stops, most likely one-stop strategies from those up and down the field. Welcome in everybody, by the way. I haven't said any hello to anyone. Welcome in Satent, Jonto and Flavio Briatore, both of them at the same time. Karim as well, Jeffrey, Benny, and that's all I can see so far. Yeah, welcome in everybody. We've got someone out on circuit. It's Jos Verstappen.
We got there at the end.
He's a driver who actually hasn't scored any points so far in this championship, if I recall correctly, with a retirement in the first race, and I believe fairly far down the order. He might have actually retired from both of the opening 2 rounds, if I actually can't remember.
He did actually retire in the second round as well. I remember that because I'm pretty sure he was the one who rolled his truck over and got driven into by one of the other trucks out there.
Yes, he was, yeah. You know. Yeah, so I remember he was battling his teammate, wasn't he? Down at the far end of the circuit in Cordoba. We're firmly now into the European leg of the season, where actually I should get this up on my phone. Also, shout out to Pop Punk Instrumental. I don't actually give them the song credit, but yeah, it's a song.
Well, certainly one of the songs out there on this planet.
Yeah, so if you're unaware of how this calendar goes, so the first 2 races were in South America at Interlagos and Cordoba, Argentina. Then we are now at the 3rd round in Hockenheim, and then will be quickly followed with Donington Park in Great Britain, Manicourt in France, and then the final 4 rounds are in Asia with Zhuhai and Shanghai, 2 Chinese rounds on the calendar. For the first time, I believe, ever in a racing calendar, we've actually seen 2 Chinese tracks on the same calendar, apart from obviously National Chinese Championships, if there are any going around. Then we go to more Formula 1 tracks in the form of Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, and then finishing up the season in Suzuka, Japan. So a very varied amount of circuits, varying in length, varying in characteristics. And yeah, we'll see a lot of race winners, I'm hoping we'll see. With 2003, didn't actually produce that many different race winners, if I recall correctly. I'll pull this up on my thing. Never mind.
Because how they kind of dominate most of the season anyway, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway.
we had 5 race winners in 9 rounds. So actually quite a number of them. We had Mika Sala scoring 4 wins. We had Mark Blundell also with 2. And then Jos Verstappen, Boris Dericheborg and Tonis Kasemets also scoring 1 win each. Mark Blundell, of course, not on the grid anymore. Following an injury that he picked up at the end of last season. He decided to call it quits in the SuperTruck World Challenge after a crash at the A1 ring he had. As we'll quickly focus back to qualifying. Jos Verstappen a 10th faster than Tomasz Enger through the first sector and 2/10 faster than Augusto Farfus through the first sector as well. As now he heads towards what we assume will be a bit of a struggle for these cumbersome vehicles, the stadium section in Hockenheim. There was also murmurs of possibly going to the outer layout, the forest layout, for this race weekend, but that unfortunately did not come to fruition, with the lack of stewarding really putting pressure on actually being able to do that. In the end, decided not to do so, as Tomasz Enger now is making his way through the final corner now. Purple's second sector, so he is pretty much matching Verstappen through the opening 2 sectors. We'll see who has the advantage through the final. It'll be Verstappen by 0.4 of a second ahead of the Czech driver of Enger.
Looking now to Augusto Farfus, his second sector time was a 10th down of Verstappen, so I am not too sure what time this will be for him. It's still early on in the session, but we have seen plenty of trucks rather, out on circuit, which is a good sight to see. Augusto Farfus comes to the line and he is 6/10 down, sending a 1 minute 50.6, and now put him last of the current people who have set the time so far.
Alex Young is another driver out on circuit, of course, returning to the SuperTruck World Challenge Series after his 2 rounds with Minardi. He returned to Minardi in Formula 1 for both the Malaysian and Bahrain Grand Prix for financial reasons for the Italian team. He's back in SuperTruck World Challenge, actually thanks for the long break between the South American and European legs of the season. Actually didn't miss any rounds, so that's good for him. More racing time for him is always good if you are a racing driver, of course, trying to get your name out there. Actually did quite well, outqualified his teammate Zsolt Baumgartner 2 times, albeit neither Minardi in either one of those rounds made it through or was even close to making it through in either the rounds. Obviously getting knocked out in the qualifying session where 26 cars make the grid and the bottom 4 are knocked out. Here though, all trucks will qualify and all trucks should make the grid, barring any force majeure. Meanwhile, Alex Young, 2.5 seconds down. He'll certainly need another lap to be a little bit more competitive. A banker lap, it seems, getting back up to speed after being used to probably the highest speeds of a Formula 1 car. His teammate Narain Karthikeyan not quite reaching the heights that he did in Interlagos in the second round in Cordoba. 9th place for him in the Argentinian round sees him there or thereabouts in the title fight. He'll be hoping for a better lap that can put him kind of far up the order. 4th place for now though, 1.4 seconds off the pace. It's an okay time for now.
Yeah, Sebastian Bourdais, I saw his second sector time. He was 4,000, no, 410, whatever. He was 4,000 faster than Verstappen in the end of the sector 2. He'll come to the line now. We'll see if he gets pole position for now. And he does not. 150.4. He is about 5/10 slower than him. So whatever happened in the last sector, it was not good for Bourdais, but he's still in a good enough position for now.
Enger also was fairly comparable to Verstappen in that final sector, so maybe the Dutchman has just managed to link up a good number of corners through that last part of the lap. A slower speed, of course, obviously favouring, well, it doesn't really favour much with these trucks, as a nice voice crack there from me. Luciano Berti also out on circuit, 0.5 second down through the first 2 sectors. We are really seeing this final sector become quite the opener in terms of pace. it's quite equal between a lot of the drivers through the first 2 sectors. Meanwhile, the last sector really proves what a driver is made of. Luciano Berti, 1.1 seconds off, and goes to 5th position.
The final sector of this track is actually the only kind of properly remaining bits of the old track. There's only a little bit of Sector 1 there, but after that it's the entire new section of track as well, so just a fun fact for those people who were curious about that, I guess.
I believe turn 1 as well was reprofiled, so not even the first
Yeah,
corner is necessarily as it was, albeit it is still a fast right-hander, just a little bit tighter than what it used to be. Sperrifico, Verstappen's teammate, still currently on pole, and the only driver to be into the 1 minute 40s is 8 tenths down on his Dutch teammate through that second sector. As we'll now go on board with the Brazilian. I believe he scored a point in the last round. I believe it's so far the only point for the Ford team. Pull that up now. I am incorrect.
Mika Salos has the fastest second sector time there. Just wanted to point that out.
Sperrifico now up towards the line. It won't be close to his teammate. It won't be a good lap at all. Nearly 2 seconds off. And he goes to 7th position. Mika Salo, though, purple in the second sector, as Tina said, and out the final corner for the 2003 champion. He could be possibly in the fight for pole position, and he does go to pole position. A 149.7 sees him 2 tenths ahead of the Dutchman. Any drivers else on circuit? I believe Jörg Müller is, yes, he's 2 tenths down. Might be picking up a little bit of slipstream from Sperrifico ahead. There we go. As yeah, he'll be hoping to at least try and get onto the podium or get a good result after his first win in the series on his debut, no less, in Interlagos, and Cordoba not proving to be as fruitful with a retirement. Going wide there through the hairpin is going to halt his tracks a little bit, as he now comes to the middle sector. I don't know if this is really a chicane. It's it's just a bit of a section of corners rather than a chicane, really. As now through the right-hander, quite cumbersome circuit for these trucks to get round. Can't actually see the second sector splits, but we'll assume it's okay. It's not okay, actually. 1.8 seconds off through the first 2 sectors. Not as good as the usual pace that we have seen from the German.
I think that might be because of the hairpin at the start of the second sector. I saw him run wide there, so I'm assuming that line might have slowed him down a ton there. We'll see here as he comes to the line.
And up towards the line for the German. 150 goes by, 151 goes by, 152.2 sees him 10th place and only ahead of Alex Young, so he's definitely going to need a better lap if he wants to be performing to a high level in this series, of course. Karlnekut scoring consistent points in each of the opening 2 rounds, so we're hoping to do so once again, the Austrian in the Red Bull Volvo. 1 second down though through the second sector could suggest that he is not going to be close to the top 5, although a good final sector could prove us wrong on that, as Alex Müller, never mind Jörg Müller, but Alex Müller, another German on the grid, is actually looking for an improvement on Mika Salo's time. Not purple, but 2,000s up on the provisional pole time, as Karlnekut up towards the line, 8th place, slots himself nicely between Karthikeyan and Sperrifico.
And here is Alex Müller right now. He's approaching the, I don't know what section you call it.
I think it's the Mercedes arena, is it not?
Yeah,
or is that the Nürburgring?
That's the Mercedes Stadium section, is it not? In the Nürburgring? Whatever, it's an entirely different track. We don't need to worry about that for now. Right now, we're at the Hockenheiming. Augusto Farfus has just gone 3 tenths faster in the first sector, to my absolute shock. Alex Müller, meanwhile, is 7 tenths down in the second sector, so it might just be the hairpin that are catching some people out here right now.
As now Alex Müller into the stadium section, he's looking fairly okay through this first and second parts of the lap. Obviously Farfus on a second lap already as we head towards way through this qualifying session. Bernaldi currently out on circuit as well, a quarter of a second down through the first sector. Muller goes 7/10 down on Sarlo and is currently in 5th position. Farfus though looking for a provisional pole lap at the moment, second run so far in the session, and we can't actually see what the second sector split is right as we get there. Farfus though really trying to put the hammer down and get Nokia Scania back towards the top as they were in 2003, winning the Constructors' Championship of course, with Mika Salo and Gabriel Gardel in the other seat. He no longer competes in SuperTruck World Challenge, and now he's been replaced by the Brazilian, and up towards the line for him. He does go to pole position by a whole second, so a massive improvement there, nearly 2 seconds worth for Augusto Farfus sees him make it a Nokia Scania front row lockout, which as it currently stands would be massively helpful for them in the Constructors, as after 2 rounds they're already massively on the back foot.
A good lap there from Augusto Farfus, as you said. I wasn't expecting it to be a whole second faster, but surprises really do happen, I suppose. Either way, Enrique Bernaldi now coming up to the line. Let's see what time he will set. It will be a 151.5, good enough for 8th place, so solidly mid-pack there for the, I need to check what team that is. Red Bull Volvo team. Yeah, I just have to look at that. Yeah, Red Bull Volvo, that's the team name.
And Narain Karthikeyan, I think he's on an outlap, although I'm not entirely sure. He is on an outlap, so I think Koji Yamanishi might be the next driver to complete a lap. No, he's also on an outlap, so I don't think any drivers are actually on laps right now. Yeah, Karthikeyan's on one now, so watch on board with those whole lap, as I will actually be right back. So I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Alright, I suppose I'll try and take it over for as best as I really can here, since I've never really been commentating on my own. Either way, 15 minutes left in the session. Right now, just over half the drivers have completed the lap, so fair enough action as it stands for right now. Narain Karthikeyan set to 1:24.4. I didn't see the actual tech the time, but looking at the replay stream I have on my side computer, which isn't really saying much, he was not less than a 10th down, so good first sector for Narain Karthikeyan now. As I should really probably get a track map for this, but I know what happened last time, so whatever. Coming down towards, I think this will be turn 7-ish. Benjamin Wald saying, is it true that Ricardo Rossi would join Diniz next season? I would not know that. I mean, it could be just a rumor, you never know. Anyway, Narain Karthikeyan coming to the second sector time. He is 2 tenths faster than Augusto Farfus right now. I think I might be the only one right here, right now, who will see Narain Karthikeyan set the fastest lap of qualifying so far. So we'll see here, as he exits the stadium section here, coming towards the last few corners of the lap. How well will we be taking it? We will see here. It looks good. We'll go full power to the line. What time will Narain Karthikeyan set? It will be a 1:48.5, and it takes him to the top of the pylon. Narain Karthikeyan is on pole position again.
A fantastic lap there from the Indian. It was on the front row. He was provisionally pole though for a good amount of time in Interlagos.
I just can't remember if he got pole or not. I know he was very high up there anyway.
Hello Thomas, welcome in. Hope your day has gone well. As Yamanishi currently on a lap and in the middle sector in the out. What's with me and having voice cracks today? I'm not entirely sure, but they've been happening loads lately. The Autobaxagori Volkswagen team looking for another points finish. I'm pretty sure Yamanishi scored a good handful of points in the second round. I'll just check that 1 second. He did not score points. He must have retired then from the race. Anyway, towards the final sector for Koji Yamanishi. Yes, he stalled on the red flag restart. So I remember now, he had a good chance of actually scoring some good points. I believe he was up into the top 5, if I remember correctly, before the red flag came out. So a very promising race for him in Cordoba, but unfortunately came undone thanks to an electronics problem. It was stated in the results as Yamanishi 15th and slowest of all so far. That's a gearbox failure for Boris de Richebourg in the Charus Volvo. He's going to have to get that one back to the pits. Obviously, with just over 10 minutes remaining, it's going to be a bit of a struggle to actually get into the pits and get back out in time, as now we see Rob Nguyen in the Zack Speed. He was fairly far up the order in Cordoba until he had his massive mistake down at turn 1 a few laps in, I believe it was, and he rolled over. Not quite where we expected to see Rob Nguyen, down in 11th place and over 3 seconds off the pace as Alex Young. A second lap for him should see a good improvement from the Malaysian. It does see him up to 5th position. Hello Sene, welcome into the stream. Hope your day is going well. I believe we saw someone purple in the first sector. Sebastian Bourdais is in the Nordic Iveco, so he's really trying to mount the pressure of his good form after his Cordoba victory. As now towards the second sector, is purple in the first, green in the second sector, and actually 2 tenths down currently on Narain Karthikeyan's pole time. Sperafico 3rd place and 6 tenths off the provisional pole time set by the Indian. Is now in the final sector, the Frenchman looking for a good improvement. He might actually get held up a little bit there by the Autobaxaguri, but out the final corner for Bourdais, powering up towards the line. What will this lap time present for the Frenchman? It's only 4th, so maybe he did get held up a little bit in the final couple of corners. As such, is half a tenth slower than Sperafico right now. Enge, though, is going faster, as is Luciano Berti, who currently down in 10th place. An improvement could see him up the order. No improvement, though, from the Deniz Scania truck, and he'll remain in 10th.
Now we're looking at Thomas Enge here. He has a fastest sector 2 times so far. I don't know if he'll be able to get pole with his sector 1 time though, but we'll see here as he comes around the last corner now. He's onto the Staffen straight now. Full throttle, down to the line, and it will be a 1:48.3. It'll take him to the top, and he dethrones Narain Karthikeyan. Thomas Enge now has pole.
And a massive lap for the Czech driver with just under 10 minutes to go. Obviously, second place in the championship thanks to his consistent results in the opening 2 rounds. No victories so far for the Czech driver in his SuperTruck career, but obviously a pole position, or a provisional pole position close to pole, would fancy him, or fancy his chances on taking such honours today. Jörg Müller half a second down through the first 2 sectors, so nowhere near as strong as where we have previously seen the German. Through the stadium section now for Jörg Müller, and towards the final corner we'll see what this lap time is going to be, but I don't imagine it's going to be anywhere near competitive enough to get him towards the front row. And it won't be. It'll be, despite actually improving quite a lot in that last sector, it's not enough to dethrone any driver in the top 3. Currently sits 4th place and just over half a second away from the fastest time. We're still yet to see 6 drivers out on circuit right now, with each of Tondis Casemets, Boris de Richebourg, Kristian Kolby, Nicolas Chiesa, Mario Haberfeld and Ryuji Kamita, also known as Dragon, out on circuit yet, with 8 minutes remaining.
Then again, to also note, Boris de Richebourg did have that gearbox failure, so the mechanics are probably busy trying to get that gearbox back into like all the gears that it can. As now Tony Casametis is showing to be at the pit exit, so he'll be on a lap soon enough.
Corner cuts into the second sector now. We can't exactly see what his first sector split was, but we imagine it is an improvement. It is an improvement, a 24.4 for the Austrian SuperTruck rookie, as he now comes towards the hairpin. We expect to see a lot of overtakes down here, a very heavy braking zone, especially in these trucks. Imagine to see braking zones upwards of 250 to maybe even 300 meters before getting it slowed down enough to make the following corner. As now in the middle sector, he needs to link up some corners quite nicely here if he wants to get close to the front of the field. He seems to have done that, so Alex Muller marginally faster than him through the first sector in the Volkswagen. Now the second sector split presents 5 tenths down through the first 2 sectors, so if he matches Tomasz Enger, then he could be on course for a top 4 start on the front 2 rows. Now in towards the Sachs curve, I think that is, if I recall correctly, into the stadium section, and now through the final 2 corners, 2 right-handers. You've really got to hold on for dear life. Hope that the truck behaves nicely enough to get the truck turned in for the main straight and up towards the line for Carnacut. A 2.5 second improvement sees him not quite to the front 2 rows, but into the top 5. As for now, Alex Muller also currently on a lap. And the German will run round the final 2 corners and up towards the line for Muller. See if this time is somewhat comparable to Nakut, as they were so close through the first sector, as Muller dethrones his fellow namesake onto the front 2 rows by a 100th of a second actually. Very fine margins between the 2 of them. Augusto Farfus, another driver across the line, improves marginally, but no closer to the front row in terms of position. Stays 3rd for now, still over 4 tenths away from the fastest time so far, still set by Tomasz Enger. We've seen a lot of drivers now out on circuit, fortunately, with Kasemets, Darishaborg, Kolby and Haberfeld now out there on circuit, the former of which is currently who we're looking on board with. He's actually getting sent up the inside, or at least attempted to be sent up the inside by one of the Zaxby's there. Maybe a little bit distracting for the Estonian, as Mika Salo in the first sector is purple. We'll go on board with him.
Now, this is a very important corner coming off from Mika Salo. He needs to ensure that he does not run wide here. Otherwise, he might lose this whole pace here. We'll see here. He'll manage to keep it within all 4 lines, so this might be a good lap for him now. We'll see here as he comes into the next few corners.
You're down at the second sector.
There's now Salo making that track as wide as he possibly can for his SuperTruck, the Nokia Scania, of course. He'll be looking to try and at least get close to Enger within the first 2 sectors and then try and make it up in the final sector. We've seen that Salo is pretty quick through this final sector, so 2 tenths down nearly for Mika Salo through the first 2 sectors. This could possibly be enough to dethrone the Czech driver of pole position. We'll have to wait and see, as now Salo, with his experience, making his way through the stadium section. Enger currently in the pit, so it's not looking like he's going to improve for the rest of the session unless he re-emerges out on circuit in the next coming minute or so. And now out the final corner, can Salo take pole, or can he even get ahead of his teammate? He does get ahead of his teammate, but not quite get to pole. Unfortunately for him, a fairly poor last sector sees him lose a bit more time compared to Enger, who is now out on circuits. Salo currently 3rd and a 10th ahead of his teammate. A Nokia Scania 2nd row lockout as it currently stands, as Mario Haberfeld just over a second down on pole and down in 10th.
Koji Yamanishi now coming across the line to finish his lap. At least I believe he is. We'll see here his time now. It is a 1:49.9. That puts him right behind Verstappen. So not a bad lap from Koji Yamanishi. Salo again setting a purple sector. I know that you're going to say that as well. I'll let you take on it.
Narain Karthikeyan as well, also trying to find an improvement, but not doing so through that first sector. We'll see what he can produce in the Nokia Scania. We haven't also seen Kristian Kolby, current championship leader in the Zakspeed Mercedes-Benz, currently not set a lap, and currently middle sector is fastest of all. 50.2 he has set through the middle section of the lap, and out the final corner. This could have come up from absolutely nowhere from Kristian Kolby, and up towards the line. Can he take pole? It will not be enough to take fastest here in Hockenheim. It does, however, put him on the front row with currently his championship rival Tomasz Enger. Mika Salo not quite as fast as he's previously been through that middle sector, but can he possibly lift himself up any higher than fourth place? We'll have to wait and see, with Karthikeyan also out there on circuit. Boris Derishaborg also looking to complete his first lap of the session. We'll see what he's capable of doing. He's going fourth place ahead of this man right here, Sarlo. He doesn't improve, and Sarlo only fifth. Karthikeyan out the final corner with a minute and a half remaining. Kolby still looking for an improvement. He is improving through that first sector. The Indian up towards the line doesn't improve as well. So now I believe it's going to be Kolby versus Enger for a possible pole position scrap.
This will be very interesting to see here. Kristian Kolby now approaching the Mercedes section, as I'll just erroneously call it now. Breaks nicely into here. Let's see if he gets the line correct. And he does, so now have to go through the next right-hander, which I also don't know the name of, but here he comes down to the second sector time. Victor Masalov is not taking good sector times as well. Kristian Kolby is roughly a 10th down, so he'll need to pull out like a miracle in the third sector to get anywhere, it seems.
Bourdais half a 10th down currently on Tomasz Enger through the final, through the first two sectors, as now he heads towards the final two corners. We have seen so many drivers come close through the first two sectors and then fall away in the final. Will it be the same for Sebastian Bourdais up towards the line in the Nordic Scania, Nordic Iveco, he does actually put a lap together good enough to take him to third position. Kolby doesn't improve, stays second fastest. Enger also trying to improve on his lap time, however going wide there is going to put pay to his lap currently. His teammate Boris Derishaborg down in fifth position and would like to at least get himself onto the front two rows. He's going to struggle a little bit with that task as he now enters the final corner, not looking to find an improvement, much of an improvement if at all, and up towards the line for Derishaborg. No improvements indeed for the French driver, as Sarlo also across the line, no higher than 7th, as Verstappen there right behind him sneaks onto the front three rows, as Enger, we are actually
sector two.
He is indeed picking up slipstream from the Deniz in front of him. This could be enough to possibly lift him further ahead. Is not. He might have got held up a little bit too much there for his own good, and he will stay where he is with a 1 minute 48.294. Jörg Müller, opening round winner in SuperTruck World Challenge 2004, could possibly take pole for the second time this season. We'll have to see as he now goes up towards the line, not improving in either one of his opening two sectors, make that 3 for 3 as he stays 10th. Kolby, though, not finding an improvement necessarily through the first two sectors on his own personal best, but he's up on Tomasz Enger through on his personal best sectors. Is now Kristian Kolby in the Zakspeed. Will it be him or will it be Tomasz Enger in the Charus Volvo to take pole position here in Hockenheim? It seems that it'll be decided within these next couple of seconds. 46, 47, 48.3 is not enough to dethrone Tomasz Enger in improvement, but it is not enough to take Enger off his top step, as Nicholas Chiesa up towards the line. 18th place for him. And yeah, looking like that it's going to be without a couple more drivers. I think everyone else is currently on an in-lap. It is the case that Tomasz Enger is currently on, well, has taken pole position ahead of Kristian Kolby and Sebastian Bourdais, completing the top three.
That was a really nice qualifying session we saw at the end there. The track just improved really nicely late on in the session, and that allowed multiple people to get back out on track and set faster and faster laps. So a really good qualifying session there from everyone today.
So final qualifying qualifying classification is Enger on pole, followed by Kolby, Balde, Karthikeyan, de Richebourg, Verstappen, Salo, Farfus, Alex Muller and Jörg Muller, the two Mullers on the 5th row and completing the top 10. Then comes Kalnikut and Sperafico completing those in, starting in the points paying positions for the 20-lap race that we have ahead of us. Then comes Mario Haberfeld in the Renault Scania, the lead Auto Baksagori of Koji Yamanishi, Alex Jung, Victor Maslov, Luciano Berti, Nicolas Chiesa, Enrique Benaldi and Tonis Casamets completes the top 20, with Rob Nguyen a disappointing 21st place considering his teammates on the front row, and Dragon once again rearing the field 5.5 seconds off the pace. Join us in a few moments where we will be getting the race underway.
The weather, as so often is the case here, is just wonderful.
Kristian Kolby.
Russian, but deep
Boris Derishimov.
Chris Elton was consistently faster than his teammate. He starts 6th. Mika Salo, 7th. Augusto Farfus, 8th.
Alex Muller.
9th.
Jörg Muller.
10th.
Arne Kutz.
11th. 4th is Jura lackluster qualifying session and faces a tough start in the midst of a shaping pack. He starts 12th.
Mario Haberfeld.
13th.
Koji Yamanishi.
14th. Jung, 15th.
Victor Maslov.
16th. Luciano Berti, 17th.
Nicolas Chiesa.
18th. Ronaldo, 19th.
Tonis Kasemets.
20th.
Rob Nguyen.
21st.
Ryuji Kibita.
22nd.
And with 20 laps ahead of the drivers to begin the European leg of the SuperTruck World Challenge Series 2004, the lights are now green. There's racing to be seen. Everyone seems to have gotten away well, especially for Kristian Kolby, looking towards the inside of Tomasz Enger towards the first corner. Can he make the move, or will Enger hold it round the outside? He will do exactly that, and Enger leads out the first corner. Karthikeyan further back has gotten just past Sebastian Bourdais, and Sperafico's also overtaken Karnakut in the battle for 11th, but it's Enger that leads out the first sector. As they're pushing wide is Boris Derishimov, pushing Sebastian Bourdais wide, the Frenchman managing to overcome his countryman and keep that 4th place for now, as we now head towards the hairpin for the first time.
Now this is where it can get very, very treacherous. Everyone's all punched together. This is a prime place for an incident to happen. We'll see if anyone gets caught up in one here. Looks like the top 2 are not involved in anything, but as we look around, some people are forced wide. That's just the nature of the first lap, but everyone seems to be alright for now. So that's a good sign
forced
for
his way
everyone.
through on Derishimov and has also managed to open the door for Mika Salo to go into the top 6. So Derishimov down a number of places compared to where he started, as a lot of drivers with cold tyres struggling to stay on the racing surface. That might open the door of opportunity to Boris Derishimov once again, the Frenchman and the Finn fighting as they head towards the final sector. Enger still with the lead over Kristian Kolby and Narain Karthikeyan, however, as they're up the inside. Alex Muller on Augusto Farfus forces him wide through the stadium section and in towards the hairpin. He should be able to keep that place. He does. A loss of tyre smoke being kicked up by these drivers, but Enger still leading the way, 6/10 ahead of Kristian Kolby as we end the first lap.
A good, clean first lap by everyone was honestly just what I wanted to see right now. Looking at the highest climbers so far, it doesn't really seem to be discernible. Everyone's moved up roughly about one place. The biggest loser, excuse me, is usually on the bird. Whoa! Karthikeyan way out wide. That can't be off, I suppose, but he's able to keep it about on track for now.
As Kolby sizing up a bit of a move there, or at least trying to, on Tomasz Enger, the Czech driver completely unfazed by the challenge behind, as a loss of overtakes happening further back. There is Boris Derishimov falling another place as Alex Muller overtakes the Frenchman for 7th. Augusto Farfus also looking to get him stuck in and involved in this battle. Derishimov holding that inside line though, not trying to let the Brazilian through, and it might actually end up in an attack on the Volkswagen once again, side by side between the two of them, and retaliation on what Verstappen did to him. Alex Muller though is going to hold it around the outside and keep that place. Jörg Muller further back, forcing Sperafico wide, and now might fall under pressure from Yamanishi in the Autobahn Zaguri side by side. They nearly touch as they head into this middle sector, tight and twisty section. As there, up the inside, it's Kalner Kut in 13th place. Can't quite find a way through so far. He's going to get the up and under, though, on the Japanese driver, or he might not actually. He's not close enough to actually get that move done. But it's all squeaky clean so far. No driver really making a discernible mistake that's allowing them to drop a number of places. But at the front, Kristian Kolby, battling with Narain Karthikeyan, is allowing Tomashenko to just run away into the distance.
Looking forward with the pack now, everyone seems to be calmed down now, so I'm not really seeing many like close gaps there, but there's definitely a pack forming, I can tell you that much, for right now anyway.
Muller.
As there, Bourdais going a little bit wide, that might put him under pressure from Verstappen for 4th place. The Dutch driver really looking to harass the Nordic Iveco for that position, as it's nearly 3 wide in towards the second corner. Verstappen barging his way through almost onto the grass as they head into the braking zone of turn 2 and out of turn 3. A very good move there, opportunistic from the Flying Dutchman to move up to 4th place. Next on his agenda is Narain Karthikeyan, just a couple of tenths up the road, who in turn is trying to get past Kristian Kolby as Mika Salo looking for a run. Also on Sebastian Bourdais up the inside. Bourdais trying to block him off, but Salo's gone for it. Up the inside, he's got that inside line. He's going to force the Frenchman wide, and he's going to take that 5th position. So a number of places lost there for Sebastian Bourdais. Great racing action here in Hockenheim. As the pack is really starting to spread out now, it seems, with 16 seconds now separating the leader and the driver down in last, being Ryuji Kamita on halfway through lap 3. Tomashenko, though, himself with 3.5 seconds of that gap ahead of this man right here, is really holding up a number of drivers. He's actually got quite the train forming behind him that pretty much goes down to last place at this current stage of this round. Karthikeyan can't quite find any way through, though, as he searches a way to try and make his way available for that second position. And going wide a little bit might put him under pressure from Jos Verstappen, or it might give him a better exit out this final corner. We'll have to wait and see. I don't think it's worked as well as what he would have hoped it would have done, as now Jos Verstappen with a greater run out of the final corner against Narain Karthikeyan. Verstappen's going to look for that inside line as De Richemont moves up to 7th. Verstappen, another place gained for the Flying Dutchman. 3rd place now for the Ford driver.
He's also looking right.
Oh!
He's looking in position to take. Oh!
Karthikeyan fighting
nowhere.
straight back. No one would have seen that one coming. I don't even think Verstappen had that one on the cards. Fortunately, he's able to hold that one off, but the erratic driving of Narain Karthikeyan nearly gaining him a place, as Sebastian Bourdais really trying to re-establish himself back into the top 5. Not before Mika Salo looks for a move on Narain Karthikeyan himself, just soon after Jos Verstappen did. Oh, and Jos Verstappen's off! An engine failure! It's going to be 3 retirements in a row. Absolute heartbreak for the Dutchman, who's parked on the apex of the hairpin, and he's going to be the first retirement of this race. That's going to actually get Sebastian Bourdais throughout that chaos back ahead of Mika Salo, and Karthikeyan up onto the podium. But a massive shame for the Ford driver, who's seen his engine, I believe, blow up for the 2nd time, and now a 3rd retirement in a row. So 0 points coming the way of the Flying Dutchman, who looked possibly set for a 2nd position.
He's dropping.
It's Casamets. Casamets also out of the race, and I think he's also going to be a retirement just a couple of corners after Jos Verstappen. Tonis Casamets with a brake failure down. So there is Verstappen's sizzling Ford truck. Casamets, fortunately for him, not as promising as a position, so he's not lost as much as what Verstappen did, but a massive shame nevertheless for the Estonian. No points for the West Mercedes driver. Let's see what happened. Yeah, no way to stop. He's pushed Alex Young actually almost into an overtake there ahead of Enrique Benoldi. But a sad way for Tonis Casamets' race to end on halfway through lap 4. So 2 retirements and 20 remain in this race, with Alex Muller now getting ahead of Boris de Richemont for 6th position.
I will say about Verstappen's engine failure though, fair play to him for managing to get off the track at such a tight corner. I thought for sure he was going to get hit by someone, but not the case.
So Tomasz then with a 7.5 second advantage ahead of Kristian Kolby. Is pulling out at least a second a lap ahead of the rest of the drivers as Bourdais and Karthikeyan going wide there through the first corner. Bourdais blocking Salo off for that opportunity to try and get a move done into towards the top four, and it might prove further dividends as Muller and Salo making contact there. Karthikeyan and Bourdais also battling just in front, but Bourdais will stay in fourth, as will Salo in fifth, but for how much longer? It's really starting to bunch up behind Kristian Kolby in second, who is actually completely didn't see that. He's actually pulled away quite a bit following the battling of these guys for third position. As look at the amount of drivers now battling, jostling for a podium place in this race. Mika Salo very wide. Is that Mika Salo? No, that's Augusto Farfus, sorry. As now his countryman Sperafico looking for a move up the inside. The Ford driver getting past the Nokia Scania and moving his way up into 8th position.
A good move there from I already forgot his name, god damn it.
Sperafico.
Anyways,
It was.
Yeah, thank you, it's Sperafico. A good move there from Sperafico. He's already been hounded back by Augusto Farfus. He's only had to go back into defense mode. And this is what is causing Tomasz Enger to have such a big gap. Is that this group right here keep fighting amongst each other, and that is just allowing Tomasz Enger to just cruise away with ease. So if he doesn't stop early enough, I think Tomasz Enger already has this race locked up and in the bag.
We saw a number of drivers there actually gaining a lot of places in the intervening laps. It seems that surprisingly you expect to see a lot of overtakes happening in the first lap, but as this race progresses, more and more overtakes are happening compared to it usually is the other way around, where less and less overtakes happen as the grid begins to spread out. As there's Jörg Muller looking for a move on the second driver at Nokia Scania, pushing Farfus wide, trying to get him out wide and try and get a better run through turn 2. He might just about get this to work, but he needs to outbrake the Brazilian down towards the second corner. He's going to try to get up the inside, but there's no fruit bearing for him, and he's going to stay in 10th for now. There also Sperafico heading wide a little bit, and now with the drivers, I feel like they've realised that they need to start to work together if they want any chance of stopping Tomasz Enger, but it seems maybe a little bit too late. For these drivers, as now a 10-second gap has emerged between first and second. Mika Salo falling off the back a little bit of the chasing pack for second position, as Augusto Farfus retakes his position ahead of Rodrigo Sperafico. Yamanishi also making a move there on Jörg Muller. He'll be very pleased with himself as he looks to try and get his first points of the season. Very wide though, might invite Karl Nakut to maybe take not just one but two positions as they head towards the final sector for the 6th time in this race. Karl Nakut does indeed get past Jörg Muller, over ambitious in trying to get past Yamanishi, and pays the price, falls down to 12th position and last of those that score points. Gap still emerging. They're not really battling for second place. Maybe Enger still has the stranglehold on pace ahead of the rest of the field as he's pulling out quite an amazing gap. He's now just set the fastest lap of the race, a 1:49.8. We'll see what Kristian Kolby is capable of mustering up. Pretty much in clean air, not really battling with anyone. A 1:52.1, so he's over 2 seconds slower than Tomasz Enger at this current stage. As there, Sperafico barging his way through again, these two not leaving each other an inch as we head onto lap 7. Sperafico retaking his position in the top 8 as there Mika Salo under pressure from Alex Muller now in the Volkswagen. He's come out of nowhere from the midfield as Karl Nakut also overtakes Yamanishi to get into the top 10.
I know I said earlier that all the fighting in this big group was causing them to slow down. I'm going to withdraw that comment. If anyone wants to win this race, they're going to have to get past Kristian Kolby first, because he is proving a cork in the bottle right now as it stands.
Narain Karthikeyan can't find any way through down at the hairpin, and it's seeming to be the same old story for the Indian driver. He cannot find his way through. Alex Muller, though, can find his way through on the reigning champion. Mika Salo moves up into 5th place. Maybe he could be the driver that heads this train towards trying to catch Tomasz Enger, but as I said, it may already be too little too late as we head to 1/3 race distance. Tomasz Enger, 12.5 seconds in the race lead. Kristian Kolby in second with Narain Karthikeyan in third. Then comes Bourdais, Alex Muller, Mika Salo, Darisha Borg, Sperafico, Farfus and Kalna Cook complete in the top 10. Then Jörg Muller and Yamanishi complete in the points. Harberfeld in 13th with Maslov, Berti, Chiesa, Benaldi, Nguyen, Young and Dragon being those completing the top 20, and those currently still in the race. Verstappen earlier with an engine failure in the back of his Ford truck, and Tonis Casamets just a couple corners later to his French compatriot, his Dutch compatriot is out of this race. The Estonian with a brake failure mere corners later.
Darisha Borg.
It seems that, however, the battle for second has seemed to have broken away in what has now become a battle for 6th between Darisha Borg, Sperafico and Augusto Farfus. However, they continue to battle just in front with a 2.5 second gap. Bourdais trying to get past Narain Karthikeyan is basically saying, let me try and have a go at getting past Kristian Kolby, and then we can all try and get close in to Tomasz Enger. Narain Karthikeyan, though, having absolutely none of it as they now head towards the hairpin again. Bourdais, could he have any chance of getting up the inside? Narain Karthikeyan again going defensive on the Frenchman, as now Bourdais can't find his way through. Narain Karthikeyan's wide though, and this might be the chance that Sebastian Bourdais was looking for, towards the inside of the next fast right-hander, and Sebastian Bourdais back up into 3rd place where he started. The top 4 re-emerging as they were on the front 2 rows of the grid. Mika Salo also getting straight back past Alex Muller in the middle sector, and now can set his sights on trying to get past Narain Karthikeyan, who seems to be also struggling for pace at this a little bit, as he's now managed to open up a gap after battling with Sebastian Bourdais just over a second between 2nd and 3rd place.
Here they come now through Sachs Curve, since I can actually have the track back up and I can actually read off the corner names. Currently the top speed holder would be between Gustav Farfus and Kalna Cut, as far as I'm seeing it. They both share
Luciano Berti with a 230.8 kilometers an hour on
well pointed out,
the
I didn't
straight
actually
line.
see that. Anyways, they're now coming back towards the 1st sector now, as Bourdais is looking for a move on Kolby here, and Karthikeyan nearly tries for a move on him as well, but can't get it to stick. Bourdais now looking for a move to the inside of Kristian Kolby. Is he going to make it stick? We'll soon find out. He's up the inside now. Bertie's looking for a pit road now, and Bourdais now into 2nd place. He's finally broken through Kristian Kolby. Now he needs to set sail.
And this could be a great chance for Sebastian Bourdais. If anything wrong happens to Tomasz Enger, either on the road mechanically or maybe in his pit stop, then it could be Sebastian Bourdais' race to lose. With a 7/10 gap he's already pulled out ahead of Kristian Kolby. We'll see if he continues to pull out a gap as there. Karthikeyan hurrying Kolby round the hairpin. Kolby with a little bit of a defensive move there on the Indian, so it might have cost him maybe a little bit of damage to the back of his truck. We're not entirely sure, but either way, Kolby still in 3rd, Karthikeyan 4th, and Salo and Muller completing the top 6 as there. Karthikeyan going wide again, holding up Mika Salo as the Finn follows the Indian's line and might, as such, fall under pressure from Alex Muller behind. Towards the final sector again on lap 9, he might look for a move into the fast right-hander. He's not going to find any way through though, as Mika Salo once again trying to get his way through on Narain Karthikeyan, and as I believe Luciano Berti and Nicolas Chiesa are both scheduled to box at the end of lap 9.
Indeed it was. I remember a radio message coming up for Luciano Berti requesting a pit stop, so it will be Berti. We'll see if Chiesa will be the one coming in soon. Either way, Bourdais is now already growing out a 2nd gap between him and Kolby. That just shows to me how much Kolby was holding up, and that's how important it is just to get clean air and be ahead of everyone. And good news for them, Kristian Kolby's pitting in this lap.
So Kolby currently 3 seconds off the provisional pace, and someone
Ooh,
massively off
someone's way
down at
wide.
turn 1. It's Victor Maslov down at turn 1. It seems like some sort of problem with his truck as Alex Muller battling for the top 5. Victor Maslov will become the 3rd retirement of this race. A massive shame for the Russian, who was battling with both Deniz trucks in this race. He was looking to try and get the overcut. He's actually going for a move there on one of them. That's going to be Mario Haberfeld he's overtaking down in towards turn 1. A little bit of contact, and yeah, it looks like brake failure for the Russian. Loses his front bumper, and that's going to be the end of his day. A massive shame for him as he retires with brake problems. The second driver to be so be a victim to his brakes, and a 3rd retirement overall following Casamets and Jos Verstappen's engine failure. As I was going to say about the lap time, sorry, is just look at the gaps between Sebastian Bourdais and Kristian Kolby. Even Bourdais is pulling out a 2.5 second a lap advantage ahead of the Zakspeed driver. Such is the lack of pace coming from Kristian Kolby right now.
As I was going to say, I'm really glad there hasn't been any brake failures into the hairpin, because that's the one place where I wouldn't want a brake failure to happen, because if your brakes just feel a bit spongy there and you go straight on, it's an absolute disaster. So thankfully there's no failures gone into there yet, apart from Verstappen's engine failure.
Yeah, we've seen multiple massive brake failures there in recent times in Formula 1, most recently in 2002, when Fernando Alonso, I believe, had a brake failure there down at the hairpin, and he was out for a couple of races, deputised by Mark Webber in the Renault, as now we're seeing a number of more drivers into the pits at the end of this lap, halfway round this 20 tours of this circuit, and Tomasz Enger currently has a 16-second advantage ahead of his rivals Alex Muller and Kristian Kolby, both into the box at the exact halfway point of this race. We've also seen Koji Yamanishi, I believe that is, also into the box, quickly followed by Enrique Bernaldi. So it's going to be a bit of a pit stop battle between all these guys. Kristian Kolby with a 9.1 second stop. We'll see if Alex Muller is any faster in terms of actually fetching him out back ahead of Kristian Kolby. It's the same sort of pit stop time, so unfortunately for him, the German is going to re-emerge back behind the Danishman. The Danishman? The Dane. There we go.
Close enough anyways, I'll let you slide on that one. Enger should be pitting this time around, if I remember correctly, as well as a couple of other drivers. I'm looking for the closest gap on track right now. That would be between Faust and Jörg Muller, battling over for 8th place right now, and here they are on screen.
And confirmed to be into the box at the end of this lap, the race leader Tomasz Enger on the end of lap 11 to box, and possibly try and take his first race victory here in SuperTruck World Challenge. Of course, if he took victory, then he would also take the championship lead away from Kristian Kolby, with the two separated by 4 points, I think. 25 points going the way of the winner, with 20 in second place, regardless of where Kristian Kolby actually finished. Tomasz Enger would be leading the championship by 1 point or more if he won this race. Into the pits then for the Czech driver, and he's had a fantastic first stint so far. 9 laps to go, and he's just got to keep it clean for the rest of this race. He doesn't necessarily need to push as hard for the rest of the race to take victory here. As now Sebastian Bourdais takes the lead here at Hockenheim. And out of the pits for Tomasz Enger, the fastest lap holder. It's going to re-emerge between Karthikeyan and Salo, so you can see how much time that Kristian Kolby is allowed to let slip between him and his main championship rival so far. Salo looking for a move a little bit on the now heavy and cold-tired Tomasz Enger, as Karthikeyan decides to run away into the distance a little bit. Salo's got to get this move done if he wants to remain close to the Indian going into the pit stops. He's looking towards the inside of the Charouz, but he's blocking his path towards the inside still, and there's contact between the two. Salo's going to barge him out the way. He's going to be quite disagreeable with how he's just moved under braking a little bit there from the Czech driver, and as such being a little bit forceful with his overtake, but an effective one nevertheless. Third place once again for Mika Salo.
Been a good drive from him so far. He's done pretty much what you would expect him to do given the circumstances of the group that he was a part in. I don't know. I think he's still yet to pit though. Same with Bode, who was just confirmed to be going into the pits at the end of this lap.
Alfa
Kathy
Romeo.
Kane is also going into the pits as well, so this will be interesting to see how they'll all do in the pits.
I think Salo's going to try and make an overcut attempt on Narain Karthikeyan. I believe that's the only way he's going to make his way through fairly convincingly ahead of the Indian, with 1.3 seconds of gap between the two of them. Either way for Sebastian Bourdais, he pulled out a 5-second lead ahead of Karthikeyan, so very useful for him to get ahead of Kristian Kolby in the dying laps of his first stint. Sebastian Bourdais, though, the current race leader, no longer, as Salo now takes the lead of this one ahead of Tomasz Enger. But of course, Salo has to make a stop. Enger does not. Sperifiko does not. Sperifiko does, and Dorishaborg both does as well. Harberfeld will move up into the top 5. We'll see where Bourdais actually re-emerges in comparison to Kristian Kolby. Now out the pit lane, 8.9 second stop will be good enough to fetch him out directly behind Alex Young, which is 7th position for the Frenchman, Narain Karthikeyan. 8th place, Kristian Kolby down in 9th and a number of seconds behind. 8 seconds he is behind Bourdais and 3 behind Karthikeyan. So a good overcut attempt there from Bourdais and Karthikeyan, successful in getting past the roadblock that has quickly become of Kristian Kolby this race.
That's why I said it was good news when Kristian Kolby said he was going to pit early, because every one of those people who are now ahead of him are so thankful for that. Because now they don't have to stare at the back of that Sack Speed, my bad, I nearly called it the West Mercedes-Benz. To be fair, it does have the Mercedes truck on him, so can you really blame me?
As we now see that people are now coming up to the
Charouz.
pit confirmation. It's Boris Dorishaborg only out of the 3 at the front that have not pit so far. Harberfeld also into the pits at the end of this lap. We'll see if Alex Young does the same. He does not, so it seems that Mika Salo is going quite long in this first stint, trying to get as much of an overcut as he possibly can, as he's pulling out a small gap ahead of Tomasz Enger. I believe around 5/10 or so a lap he is pulling out, and actually Sperifiko is gaining on Tomasz Enger. Maybe a bit of a fuel difference between the two. Maybe Enger's tyres are still cold, it's actually undecided, but Sperifiko really keeping pace with the former race winner, current race leader, as Rob Nguyen out of this race. 4th retirement from this race, and a 3rd one with a brake failure.
Well, looking at Nguyen now, this seems to be going into Mercedes here. We'll have a look at it now. Here he comes, coming into turn 8 of Mercedes, and no, it's not quite into there, so it might be out of 9 or 10, possibly. And yes, it is. And that will be Rob Nguyen out of this race. A tough break for him there.
The Australian out after a promising opening 2 rounds. It's going to become the 4th retirement here in Hockenheim. His teammate Kristian Kolby is going to be close to... Actually, he's been overtaken there by Jörg Muller. Sorry, not Jörg Muller, Alex Muller, a different Muller. So Kristian Kolby now down to 9th. I don't know how many drivers are yet to stop in front of him, but he's certainly lost a number of places. Just 3 left to make a pit stop, including Salo, Sperifiko and Alex Young. So at best, Kristian Kolby is 6th. I imagine Salo's going to get the jump on him, maybe even Sperifiko in this next round of pit stops, whenever those will be. As we'll see if Salo is going to be into the pits at the end of this lap. He's now pulled out a 2-second lead over Tomasz Enger in 2nd. No pit confirmation though. Nor for Sperafico. Oh no, sorry, there is one for Sperafico. So Sperafico into the box at the end of this lap. Sarlo, though, he's trying to extend this as much as he physically can. So it just proves how much of a good pace that he had earlier on a heavier fuel load compared to those around him. Mika Salo really looking to possibly try and jump a lot of drivers here. He's now actually pulled a 23-second gap ahead of Karthikeyan, 21 ahead of Sebastian Bourdais. So maybe could he be trying to get himself possibly up into second place?
Thomas Enger.
Alex Muller is falling down the order, and that's going to be 2 Volkswagens out of this race. A massive shame for the team, and a massive shame for Alex Muller, who had really worked hard in getting himself a long way up the order, actually. He was within contention of a possible podium in this race, ahead of Kristian Kolby and behind Boris Richebourg. So the battle for 7th place he was in, and in towards turn 10, making the overtake there on Boris Richebourg. But, it does not look like a failure on him at all. It looks like an honest mistake from Alex Muller, and he is the next retirement from this race. We'll get another look at it from the TV. He just tried pulling into the racing line to get a better run through the corner, completely mistook where the end of Boris Richebourg's truck was, and as such, Alex Muller is out.
And that keeps our flip counter at 3 for 3. So every single race this Super Truck season has had a person flipping it still. So that's honestly,
Alex Muller.
I don't know if that's more impressive than worrying, but either way, there's your fun fact for today. Here's Sperafico now.
Massively under the radar so far in this race, and he's gone for the overcut attempt on a lot of drivers around him, and he's actually come out in the top 5, so he's gained a lot of places indeed, as now Alex Young kind of holding up Sebastian Bourdais. This might actually favour his teammate Narain Karthikeyan, who has stopped. Alex Young and Mika Salo, the only drivers yet to stop in this race so far, as Mika Salo with a 22.5 second buffer ahead of Sebastian Bourdais. Could this actually be enough to fetch him out still in second place provisionally, if Alex Young does not pit, of course? It's going to be close, I reckon, between the two of them, as now Salo, lap 15. Is he going to be in at the end of this lap?
I'd assume so.
He is. So he's gone for a long stint, 3/4 of the race in, and he's going to be finally in at the end of this lap. Meanwhile, for Young, this is massively helping Salo out as well as Karthikeyan, with him holding up Sebastian Bourdais. This could decide second place in this race, as now Mika Salo, entering the final couple of corners, is going to be into the pits at the end of this lap. Now into the box. Alex Young is also going to be into the box. We'll see how this how this stop compares to the rivals around him, and could he possibly be taking his first podium of the season? We'll have to wait and see. Enger now takes the lead with 5 laps to go, and he's looking set for that one, but we'll see where Salo re-emerges in comparison to Bourdais.
He needs a good pit stop now to get ahead of Karthikeyan and the rest of them. We'll see if he gets it. It's an average stop, I'll say. It's an 8.6. We'll see how well that comes out, as Bourdais now into 3rd. And he had Salo now out of the pits. We'll see now in comparison to possibly Bourdais. He might actually be in 2nd, as you said. We'll see here as he comes to the pit exit. And he is indeed in 2nd. Fair play to Mika Salo.
He's done just enough there to jump ahead of a lot of drivers there, I believe 3 or 4 in total, as Bourdais a little bit frustrated, trying to look for a move, a bit of a dive there on Salo, failing quite drastically, going wide through turn 2, and now Salo can dash off into the distance hopefully and try and solidify his first podium of the season. Karl Nakut, though, is not going to make it 3 races in a row where he has scored points. Another brake failure for another driver sees the Red Bull Volvo pilot out of this race, and a 6th retirement from this race is a massive shame for him. I believe he was fairly far down the order, though. Was he possibly... Oh, he's battling with Farfus for 8th. So it would have been more points on the board for Karl Nakut. You can see there, no real control of the truck. And he is another victim to brake failure.
It's a shame for Karl Nakut, honestly. He was having a fairly decent race, even though it was gone mostly on our radar. So it's a shame to see Nakut out of this race. He was doing very well, in my opinion.
So Kristian Kolby, who was previously second, you can see how much time he's lost. He's 7 seconds adrift of where he previously was in second and 4 places below in 6th place. So you can see how much time he lost compared to his rivals. And now Sperrifico looking for a move round the outside of Bourdais. The Frenchman is surely not going to let that one go, and he is actually going to pull ahead towards the stadium section. A fantastic move there from the Ford truck driver as he now moves onto the podium. Sperrifico, obviously the only driver to score points so far for the Ford team, with an 11th place last time out in Cordoba, but of course, if he can keep this one up, then he'll be scoring a lot of more points for the team. I believe it's 16 points for a 3rd place finish, so a lot of points going the way of the Ford truck team. With Verstappen retiring from 3 out of 3 races, it'll be a good morale boost for that team, as now Bourdais doesn't really have a response to the Brazilian, and now he could possibly go and try and charge on to try and take Mika Salo's 2nd place. Gap ahead is just 1.2 seconds, although he has got to keep his wits about him, with Sebastian Bourdais and Narain Karthikeyan still close behind.
Thomas Enger, meanwhile, 21.7 seconds ahead. The only thing that can really ruin this race now for Enger is if he either messes up or has a massive like brake failure or something. Apart from that, I'm pretty sure this race has absolutely been sorted for him.
Yeah, Tomasz Enger looking comfortable here to take a championship lead, barring any force of mistake. Talking about mistakes, there's Sperrifico going a little bit wide out the hairpin. It's going to open an opportunity for Sebastian Bourdais to take advantage and retake his place on the podium. Sperrifico shuts that door though, is going to keep 3rd place for now, unless he goes wide a little bit. He's nailed that corner actually through the middle sector. He's going to hold on, and with this battling that's happening, it's allowing Mika Salo to run away into 2nd position. So this is perfect for the Finn, who is looking at his first points of the... No, not his first points, his first podium of the season. Koji Yamanishi as well, looking to try and get Auto Baxaguri off the board with an 11th place finish. That's 2 points for the way of the Japanese driver, but he's got a number of drivers directly behind him in Luciano Berti and Nicolas Chiesa, jostling quite hard for the minor points placings, as Chiesa with his teammate up in 4th. It's not good reading for the Dane.
Honestly, it's been a good race from Yamanishi. It's been fairly quiet for sure, but for a team that's kind of been struggling this entire season, getting 11th would mean a whole lot to them, so I'm sure he's going to be defending that place for his life.
Is now at the final corner. Luciano Berti with seemingly a better run, but nowhere to really go with it. He might actually fall under pressure as such from Nicolas Chiesa behind towards turn 1, and Berti's going to block that one off slightly. There's only so much that he can do, and now a better run out the first corner for the Nordic Iveco driver. Can he find a way through towards turn 2, or will Luciano Berti pounce on the opportunity to take 11th place? He can't do such thing, and will stay in 12th for now, as Yamanishi, like you said, fighting for his life to get his first points on the board for the season. Boris de Richebourg trying to get past Kristian Kolby. He did actually get past until Kolby got immediately straight back through. I believe it was an overtake down at turn 1, got the Frenchman up ahead of him, but the Zakspeed retaliated in towards the hairpin, and since then, a couple of laps ago, he's not been able to really get a foothold in trying to get into 6th position, as now for race leader Tomasz Enger, just 2 laps to go to take his first victory in the series.
Yeah, it's been an absolutely dominating performance, led from lights out, and he's just been on it ever since. Managed to pull away from Kristian Kolby, who, to be fair, helped him a fair bit by holding a huge amount of the drivers back from him, but it'll take a miracle, like I said earlier, for him to lose this race. So Tomasz Enger on his way to his first win of the season.
And Mika Salo as well will be very happy with this result. Obviously, 2nd place for him, his first podium, but it's obviously more points dropped to the championship leader, of course, and it's going to be a tall order from here with only 6 rounds remaining. After this one, we're a third of the way through the championship already, as time flies, and Mika Salo a long way off the championship lead. Do you think he's going to be able to bridge that gap to Tomasz Enger if he keeps up this sort of form.
Yeah, it will all come down to luck, really, honestly. I think if Thomas Enger keeps having good runs like these, then honestly, it will probably be going the way of Thomas Enger. But I feel like Salah has something in him that he's just not showing right now, and I'm not sure why that is. We'll just have to wait and see for this second, third of the season to really have anything. Looking at Bourdais now, he looked like he was going to make a move on spare vehicle, but wasn't able to. Carthagane way wide there. I don't know what he's doing there, but yeah.
And I think that's going to pretty much nail the coffin shut in any chance of trying to get to 4th place in this race for Narain Carthagane. It's still been a solid race from him, bouncing back from his fairly anonymous 9th place in Cordoba towards the back of the field. He was for a majority of that race and couldn't really make an impression. However, today he has really put himself back on the map after his 2nd place in Interlagos, of course. His best result so far in the series, and it will probably remain to be so unless 3 trucks ahead of him, retire, which I see highly unlikely in happening. Tomasz Enger, though, starts his final lap of the race, comfortably leading. Driver of the day vote, it's actually going the way of Rodrigo Speraffico, surprisingly. 40% of the votes going the way of the Brazilian, ahead of Mika Salo and Tomasz Enger. Personally, there's no other person but Tomasz Enger deserving of such an award. I don't know about you, but yeah, no one's really come close to him all race.
I'd agree to disagree, honestly. I think Salah would probably be better fitting for driver of the day, because I don't know where he was before the pit stops, but he managed to extend his stint so long that he ended up 2nd because he managed to fuel save so much. So, in my opinion, Mika Salah's getting the driver of the day.
Hello, Comedy Per. You're here for the final lap of the race and about to see Tomasz Enger take his first victory here in SuperTruck World Challenge. No! Koji Yamanishi! Oh dear! Where is he? Is it is it turn 2 there? Or the run between turn 1 and turn 2? And an almost certain... Oh, what a shame there for Koji Yamanishi. An almost certain points finish. He's held on so well against Luciano Berti. It's all going to come undone with a, seems like some sort of mechanical problem, I would suggest, from the Japanese truck. We'll have to wait and see. Down towards turn 1, and yeah, it seems like yet another brake failure down at turn 1. Rips the front bumper off, but that's going to be the least of his worries. No bumper and no points for Yamanishi. A massive shame for him. And now the cat's been let out the bag with Nicolas Chiesa pouncing on the opportunity to take 11th. He's done exactly that, and from 13th to 11th in a single corner. I'll see if I can sort something out like that for you. As now rounding the final couple of corners, can't speak anymore, Tomasz Enger is going to make his way through to claim a dominant victory here in Hockenheim. He's led pretty much from start to finish, and he's never looked back since the opening lap. Tomasz Enger is going to take a win by over 20 seconds here in Hockenheim. A great result for the Charus Volvo team, with Boris de Richebourg also going to pick up a handful of points. Mika Salo rounding the final corner to get his first podium of the season and gets his championship campaign back on track. Speraffico also, with a great pit stop strategy to get ahead of a lot of his rivals, will achieve not only a driver of the day, but his first podium of the season. Sebastian Bourdais with more good points in 4th. Narain Carthagane completing the top 5 with Kristian Kolby. It seemed like he was going to get a podium in the early stages, but then quickly we realised how slow he really was. He does hold on, however, to 6th place, ahead of de Richebourg, Harberfeld, Augusto Farfus, Interlagos winner Jörg Müller, Nicolas Chiesa and Luciano Berti complete the points, with Enrique Bernaldi just missing out, Alex Young in 14th, and Dragon Ryuji Kamita in 15th and last place. 7 retirements from this race, with Koji Yamanishi, Karl Nakut, Alex Müller, Rob Nguyen, Victor Maslov, Jos Verstappen and Tonis Kasemets, but it is Tomasz Enger that has dominated this round.
Yeah, it was honestly a very entertaining race despite the leader breaking away from the pack ahead. We had a lot of battles, and we even had a shock retirement on the final lap. If you would even consider we needed to be a shock retirement, but he was on for points. I'm still kind of devastated for him, honestly, but that's racing sometimes.
Well, catch us next time for the next stream, which will be a Discord exclusive. I believe it is tomorrow or Thursday. I can't exactly remember, but it's one of those days. So if you want to catch that one, be sure to join the Discord. It's a link in the chat. But that's going to be all from us in today's SuperTruck World Challenge round. I hope you've all enjoyed. If you have, make sure to like the stream and subscribe to the channel if you already have not done so. And that's going to be all from me in today's stream. And that's going to be all from Tina.
Goodbye, everyone.
Yep, that's going to be all from us today. Goodbye, everyone, and we will see you in a couple of days' time for F3 Euro Series.